Characterizations of the 2015 fiscal year budget for state government range from either a great accomplishment to utter failure, depending on who you talk to. But one thing is certain, it's a spending plan featuring numerous budget cuts and creative accounting.
The biggest dollar cut in the new budget is to the Oklahoma Health Care Authority. The agency loses $47,312,481 in fiscal year 2015, which begins in July. But in fact, the budget gives the agency a supplemental appropriation in the current fiscal year of $47,685,064, which is actually a slight budget increase. But that will still mean cuts in services and reimbursements to doctors, hospitals, and nursing homes. Nico Gomez is the agency's CEO.
Then we're still looking at provider rate cuts in the neighborhood of, 6.5% to 8%. That's already on top of some targeted program cuts we're going to go ahead and try to implement July 1.
Percentage-wise, it appears the biggest budget winner is the Office of Educational Quality and Accountability, receiving an increase in funding of 192.1%, an extra $1,270,000. Robert Buswell is the executive director.
Well, I wish that were the case, but it's not. Actually, those budget numbers are the result of two agencies coming together, and that's the combined budget figure, and actually built into our consolidation was a 15% decrease.
In reality, the reduction in the agency's budget is among the largest cuts percentage-wise for fiscal year 2015.
We've actually had to tighten our belts up 24%. And so we're looking at a budget now of about $1.9 million. And that includes $270,000 that was just recently assigned to us, and it's simply flow-through money. So what we're looking at really is a budget for us of $1.6 million.
The biggest loser in the budget from a percentage standpoint is the Commissioners of the Land Office, which saw its budget cut by 43.3%, or more than $6.5 million. As it turns out, the actual budget cut, while still significant, is nowhere near that big.
The governor requested $9 million for the operation of the agency, and what has been approved through the process is 8.5.
Harry Birdwell is the secretary of the Commissioners of the Land Office, which generates up to $300 million a year and runs a trust fund of $2.2 billion, money that helps finance Oklahoma Common and higher education. And the Land Office doesn't get any money from the legislature.
We are not a general revenue agency. The funds that we spend to operate the day-to-day activities of the agency are monies that we generate through the investment activities, the leasing activities of land, and the oil and gas exploration on state land.
So why does the Land Commission even show up in the General Appropriation Summary? And why does it appear Birdwell's agency took a 43.3% cut?
I guess I don't know where that disparity came in. I can, as I've attempted to do, explain what the numbers are, but I don't know how the disparity still showed up on the budget document.
David Blatt, executive director of the Oklahoma Policy Institute, believes these are examples of the budgetary maneuvers that show up during an election year.
They don't want to make it seem like in a year of declining revenues that there was budget growth.
Members, the bill is now before you on third reading and final passage. Will there be debate?
Lawmakers had $188 million less to spend on next year's budget, so there are several instances in the new budget where negotiators gave supplemental appropriations out of the current fiscal year, when in fact that money won't actually be spent until fiscal year 2015, but will show up in the 2015 budget as being zero. Speaking on the People's Business, Senator David Holt said he supports the budget as a good spending blueprint.
Overall, I think they handled the cutting situation as best they could, and actually, compared to the 3 other years I've been here, this was one of the least controversial budgets that I've been around. So I commend Chairman Jolly and the people in the House for the job they did under the circumstances they were given.
The Oklahoma Conservation Commission received a $3 million supplemental for the current fiscal year as matching money for federal funds that are in the new Farm Bill to rehabilitate watershed dams. However, no one knows when those federal dollars will become available, except that it probably will not be until fiscal year 2015. The Water Resources Board got $1.5 million in supplemental funding for drought relief that will also likely not be used until fiscal year 2015. The House of Representatives took a 5.5% cut, like many other agencies, for fiscal year 2015. But speaking on the people's business, House Minority Leader Representative Scott Inman said that was actually part of the shell game of spending.
That the House of Representatives, on paper, took about a $900,000 cut, but then they were given a supplemental of about $1 million, so it actually works out to about an $89,000 or $90,000 increase. And so the games that were played, I think the folks of Oklahoma, if they had a chance to sit down and look at it, would be less than happy about it.
The Commission on Children and Youth got a funding increase of 5.1%, or $102,506. Lisa Smith is director of that commission.
That increase actually goes to support a program that the legislature moved over to us last legislative session.
The program was transferred to Smith's agency from the State Health Department a year ago, but came over with no money or staff. The OPI's David Blatt says budget packages like that take money from one fiscal year for spending during the next, and it's something most people won't even notice.
It's something that I don't think that any voters and most legislators would understand why they're playing those kind of games, but somehow it felt important for them at the end of the day to be able to say that they cut the overall budget by 2.5% or 4%.
And David Blatt says this kind of budgeting does have a price tag, and it will be a big one that comes due a year from now.
We are doing something fundamentally wrong, and the fact is that going in and stealing money out of revolving funds or transferring money out of revolving funds is not the way that we're going to get our fiscal house in order. There is $290 million of non-recurring revenue in this year's budget.
And that means when lawmakers return to the Capitol next year to write another new budget for state government, they are hoping tax income will have increased enough to fill the $300 million financial hole they dug this year.